Welcome back to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So today we're really stripping away the varnish.
Oh, yeah. Peeling back all those layers of mystique.
Exactly. The mystique that's just coated this ancient practice for, well, centuries, really.
It's an industry, right? The human potential industry.
It is, but we're not looking at it through the lens of marketing today.
Yeah.
Or fairy tales.
No fairy tales. Just radical, brutal honesty.
Which is a bit of a reality check.
It's a massive reality check. Because, look, you listening right now, you probably love the idea of superpowers.
We all do.
It's ingrained in us from childhood. You read the comic books.
You watch the movies.
Right. And then you hear about these ancient yogic traditions. And the whispers are always there.
Levitation.
Invisibility.
Controlling the weather. Or stopping an army in its tracks just by holding up a hand.
The allure of the mystical.
Yeah.
It's a powerful hook.
It really is. It promises you that if you just sit in silence long enough.
Or twist your body into the right shape.
Yeah, that you can somehow transcend the laws of physics.
It's basically the ultimate retention strategy for the spiritual marketplace.
That's a great way to put it. But here's the tension we're exploring today. What happens when you spend 50 years?
Half century.
Half a century chasing those superpowers, and they never show up.
Yeah, what happens when you realize the magic might be a myth?
But the reality is actually something far more interesting.
That's the pivot point.
Yeah.
Because today isn't about debunking yoga at all.
Not at all. It's about refining it.
We aren't looking at some textbook written by a guy who studied for a semester abroad.
No, we are looking at the life and the radical honesty of a practitioner who has literally lived this for 5 decades.
We're diving into the world of Osman.
Also known as the blind Muslim yogi.
And honestly, before we even get into his story, that title alone...
It stops you in your tracks.
It really does. Because when you think of a yogi, you have a very specific image in mind.
Usually tied to a specific religion.
Right, or a specific aesthetic. And Osman disrupts that immediately.
Completely. And his background is just as unique as his title. He is a bioenergy healer.
Operating at a master level.
Well, master level. And we are getting into some deep concepts here because he uses principles of quantum entanglement.
And telepathic healing capability.
Which sounds wild, but he specializes in critical care, recovery.
Terminal illnesses.
Yeah, this isn't just light and love healing.
No, this is dealing with the absolute heaviest situations a human being can face.
Now, we need to get a crucial disclaimer out of the way immediately, because Osman himself is very, very adamant about this.
Vital point here. He is not a replacement for your doctor.
No. His work is strictly complementary to medical fields.
He's not telling you to throw away your prescription or ignore your oncologist.
Exactly. It's to enhance whatever might be lacking in the standard medical fields. He's very results-oriented.
Highly. And despite the esoteric-sounding titles like telepathic healing, his approach is deeply grounded.
Deeply grounded, and he explicitly wants to correct a misconception. He's not about some dusty, ancient, centurion mystic vibe.
Right. He specifically asked to correct that terminology in the material.
He did. He is about a scientific approach.
That distinction is so key, because centurion implies something old, outdated.
Just surviving because it's been around forever.
Exactly. But scientific implies testing. Rigorous protocols, repeatable results.
He wants to revive a lost science by simplifying very complex protocols.
And that's basically the mission statement for this entire deep dive.
Why does this matter to you? Because according to Osman, people are wasting decades of their lives.
Chasing illusions.
Sitting in caves waiting to fly.
When they could be achieving actual measurable results.
Life-changing results. In health, peace of mind, relationships, finances even.
So let's unpack this. Let's go all the way back. Because Osman didn't start out as a skeptic.
He was a believer.
A huge believer. He was very young when he started. Around 8 years old.
8 years old. And like many of us at that age, he was totally captivated by the literature.
He was reading these texts that promised the cities.
The cities. The yogic superpowers.
Yeah, the ancient texts that claim a master can make themselves heavier than a mountain.
Lighter than a feather.
Smaller than an atom.
The promise that you can manipulate matter itself.
I mean, imagine being 8 years old and reading that. You aren't thinking about, stress relief.
Or lowering your blood pressure.
No, you're thinking, I want to be lighter than a feather.
It's the ultimate childhood fantasy. But here's the thing. Osman has now been practicing for 50 years.
He's 57 years old.
Blind for the last 2.5 years, by the way.
Right. And he's dedicated his entire life to this. And his conclusion after all that time is incredibly stark.
He says these specific magical feats are statistically non-existent.
He drops a really fascinating statistic, or, well, an observation.
Yeah.
He says that among serious practitioners, and he has met so many over the decades, not even 1 in 100,000 can achieve any of these powers.
Which leads us to one of the most brilliant analogies I've heard in a long time regarding spiritual practice.
Oh, the Panasonic one.
The Panasonic analogy. He compares the search for these powers to the quality control standards of Panasonic.
The electronics company. Let's actually unpack this. I love mapping business logic onto spirituality.
It's so clarifying. So the logic goes like this. If a factory like Panasonic aims for 0 defects, they have to quantify that.
Right.
If they produce 100,000 televisions and one is broken,
Is that 0 defect?
maybe close. But if they produce 100,000 and all of them work perfectly, that is the goal.
The holy grail of manufacturing.
Exactly. Now, flip that to yoga claims. If the claim is yoga gives you superpowers,
And you look at a massive sample size, 100,000 serious practitioners.
and not a single one can fly, or
Yeah.
control the rain, or become invisible,
Then the defect rate of that claim.
is 100%.
Wow. It's brutal when you put it that way.
100% defect rate. He's saying if you can't find a single verified instance in a massive sample size, it's time to adjust your expectations.
Right. If the product never actually comes off the assembly line, maybe the factory doesn't make that product.
Period. And the tragedy here, and it really is a tragedy, is that people don't realize this until it's too late.
Osman talks about the danger of false hope. He sees people who've spent 50 years sitting in silence,
Waiting for the magic.
waiting for the spark. And what do they have to show for it?
Maybe a little relaxation.
Maybe they're a bit calmer. But internally, they feel like total failures because they didn't become Superman.
And worse, it opens them up to exploitation.
Huge point.
Osman gives a very stern warning about gurus who claim to control nature,
The ones stopping the wind.
making it rain, or claiming they can stop enemies in their tracks.
He specifically calls out the materialization trick.
Oh yeah, we've all seen videos of this. Gurus who produce ash or gold coins.
What's that, a thin air in the palm of their hand?
It looks like an absolute miracle.
But Osman is very direct.
Yeah.
He calls it out. He says in many cases it's just sleight of hand, magic tricks.
Cheap parlor tricks. But, and this is where it gets really layered, he offers a more esoteric explanation for the cases that aren't sleight of hand.
Right, because he doesn't deny the object appears.
He denies it's a spiritual power.
His view is that some practitioners use spirits, entities, to transport objects instantly.
Like quantum entanglement, but using entities. And he says you can actually learn this.
It's not the result of 50 years of enlightenment?
No. He claims it's a trick that can be learned in 6 days.
6 days.
If you know the right protocols to communicate with these entities,
But there's a catch.
there's always a karmic catch.
He warns about the consequences. Because if a gold coin appears in your hand out of nowhere,
It had to come from somewhere.
right, you didn't create it from the ether, you transported it.
Essentially, it's stealing.
And engaging in that kind of deception or theft just to impress your followers.
It comes with a massive spiritual price.
So he's stripping it all away. No flying, no weather control, no magic gold.
If you practice yoga, you might be feeling a little deflated hearing this.
You might be asking, well, then what is the point?
And that is exactly where Osman wants you to be. Because once you clear away the smoke and mirrors, you're left with something real.
Undeniable.
Physiological and undeniable, the real superpowers.
Let's get into the physical side.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at what Osman can actually do physically
It's insane.
at 57 years old,
Yeah.
while blind, it's almost unbelievable.
The proof is in the pudding. We aren't talking about magic. We're talking about extreme, elite fitness.
Let's run the numbers for you guys listening. And remember, this is a man nearing 60 who cannot see
1,000 squats,
in a single session.
5,000 crunches,
Broken down into 5 sets of 5 different types, 200 reps each.
and 500 push-ups.
It sounds like hyperbole. It sounds exactly like the childhood myths he was just debunking.
But he's incredibly rigorous about this. He doesn't talk about these feats as magic.
Right, it's biological efficiency.
There's this great anecdote he shares about being in a gym. He's doing leg lifts.
And there's a 30-year-old fitness enthusiast next to him, a guy in his prime. Works out all the time.
And this guy is struggling to hit 50 reps. He's just grinding it out, sweating, shaking.
And Osman, decades older, steps in and just knocks out 200 consecutive reps. Easily.
The guy didn't even believe him. He demanded proof.
And Osman provided it right there.
But here's the critical part. The why. Why can he do this? He attributes it to pranayama.
Breath work?
But this isn't your standard breathe in, breathe out at the end of a yoga class.
No, this is advanced. This is about actively increasing your VO2 max and endurance through highly specific breathing techniques.
It's oxygenating the blood and muscles so efficiently that fatigue it doesn't set in the same way.
It's biological optimization, not mystical intervention.
He also mentions the vagus nerve, which we hear a lot about in modern wellness circles.
Yeah, but Osman connects it directly to the ancient science. He notes that yoga is one of the only systems specifically designed to stimulate and treat the vagus nerve.
The superhighway of your nervous system, controlling that parasympathetic response.
Rest and digest.
And the results of that stimulation are completely tangible. He talks about staying light.
He successfully avoided arthritis, which he mentions is a huge deal for him at 57.
Especially considering the physical demands he puts on his body. And maintaining high functionality despite his blindness.
Losing your sight is a massive physiological shock.
A psychological shock, too.
But his nervous system is so well regulated through this practice that he maintains an elite level of functionality.
Speaking of psychological shock, I really want to talk about the case study of the professional boxer.
Yes. This was the moment in the research where I literally sat up and took notes.
It's such a compelling story. So you have a pro boxer, 17 years of experience in the ring.
This is a guy who trains 8 hours a day. He is a machine.
But inside, he's broken. Severe depression.
Suicidal ideation.
It really highlights the duality of the human experience. You can be physically elite, a warrior, and internally you're collapsing.
So Osman intervened. And notice the combination of techniques he used here.
Right, he used chakra unlocking the energy work.
And a specific 15-minute breathwork routine.
And the results were fast.
Immediate. Osman reports that the depression turned to normality in the very first session.
That heavy, suicidal cloud just lifted.
But because this is a deep dive, we have to look at the physical metrics too. It's not just about mood.
Exactly. This is an athlete. Performance matters. So within 2 weeks of doing this 15-minute breathwork routine,
his push-up endurance skyrocketed.
He went from sets of 120, which is already incredibly impressive,
to sets of 200 without breathlessness.
Without breathlessness. That's the key phrase.
That is the pranayama working. That's the bioenergy efficiency in action.
It bridges the gap between energy work and tangible athletic metrics.
It's not just, oh, I feel better emotionally. It's, I can do 80 more push-ups per set than I could 2 weeks ago.
And I'm not even out of breath. It's redefining what we consider a spiritual result.
Right. We want the magic trick. But the real magic is optimizing the human machine to perform at a level that seems impossible to the average person.
Precisely. And this entire theme of redefinition, it carries over into the actual spiritual experiences themselves.
Osman talks about samadhi and kundalini, 2 terms that gets thrown around constantly in yoga circles.
But he defines them so differently than the mainstream.
Let's start with samadhi, because this is often framed as the ultimate goal.
Enlightenment, nirvana.
Right. And Osman hit this state at age 19.
Which is incredibly young to attain your first samadhi experience.
And he describes the state vividly. Total bliss, a profound connection to the creator.
But he also describes the physiological shock of it.
He said he couldn't even speak for an hour afterwards.
Yeah, the complete inability to enunciate words. Tears of joy just streaming down his face.
It's a massive system overload. A beautiful one, but an overload.
And here's the reality check again. He says, it didn't give me superpowers.
He came back down from the mountain, so to speak, and he was still just a man.
A more spiritual man, a more religious man.
But he couldn't fly.
No. He realized that samadhi is a state of consciousness. It's not a tool for domination or magic or parlor tricks.
And then there's kundalini.
Oh man, I feel like this word actually scares a lot of people.
It does. You hear these terrifying stories online about kundalini psychosis.
Or these violent energy explosions up the spine that make people shake uncontrollably for days.
Osman completely demystifies this. He challenges the entire idea that a kundalini awakening must be this massive, violent, physical explosion.
How does he define it? He calls it the passion to investigate.
The passion to investigate. I absolutely love
But
it.
it's so simple, right? He says it's simply the dissatisfaction with the mundane cycle of life.
Eat, sleep, make money. Entertain the senses.
and repeat. If you look at that cycle and you suddenly say, is this it? There must be more to this.
Then your kundalini's already active.
It's so democratizing. It moves Kundalini from this esoteric, scary, biological event that only happens to monks in caves.
To an intellectual and spiritual hunger that probably everyone listening to us right now has felt at some point.
Exactly. If you're questioning life, if you're searching for deeper meaning, you are already in the flow of that energy.
It's not about shaking on the floor. It's about the drive to seek truth.
So we have this deeply pragmatic, scientific, results-oriented worldview.
How does he actually teach this stuff? Because he mentions he's been teaching for 46 years.
His methodology is fascinating, mostly because it's built on total humility.
Which is rare in the guru space.
Very rare. He admits freely, I don't know every technical definition. I don't know all the Sanskrit terms.
Usually experts want to dazzle you with vocabulary to prove their worth.
Osman rejects that completely. His whole philosophy is, I only teach what worked for me.
It's purely experiential.
He rejects the necessity of sitting cross-legged for hours or chanting endlessly if it doesn't actually yield a result.
He wants results in the very first lesson.
That's his benchmark, feeling lightness, feeling a positive shift.
If you aren't feeling it immediately, the protocol isn't working, and he pivots.
And this brings us to the actual services he provides today, because we mentioned at the top that he's a bioenergy healer.
And he's incredibly transparent about the business side of this, which I appreciate.
He is. He details the extreme rigor of his own practice to explain why his services are premium.
He used to practice up to 18 hours a day.
18 hours.
That leaves, what, 6 hours for sleep and eating?
Basically, he lived it entirely. And even now, at 57, he maintains 8 to 10 hours a day of practice.
Just to, as he puts it, sharpen the sword.
The healer as a swordsman, keeping the blade honed.
And because of that intense dedication and his extensive study from the Far East, Middle East, and the West,
He charges premium fees for his direct energy healing.
it makes sense. He has a very high success rate in critical care, recovery, and terminal illnesses.
Utilizing those principles of quantum entanglement, it's a highly specialized, uncommon skill.
So his treatments and consultations are not inexpensive.
And this is a huge, but he clearly differentiates between the healing service and the knowledge.
Yes. He emphasizes that the knowledge is free.
He has a YouTube channel. You can search for the Blind Muslim Yogi.
And he puts it all out there. Extensive advice, direction, techniques on yoga and meditation.
Nothing is withheld on the YouTube channel.
So you don't have to pay to learn the science. You only pay if you need the direct premium intervention, the actual healing.
Or if you want the live daily video lessons and one-to-one consultations, which he offers via his Patreon.
Right. But the barrier to entry for the core knowledge itself is zero. It's free.
It aligns perfectly with his mission. He wants to encourage as many people as possible into a scientific, results-based approach.
He spent his lifetime tirelessly trying to simplify these complex protocols.
He wants to take it out of the realm of fairy tales and put it into the realm of, this works, here is how, go do it.
Why waste time on illusions when optimized reality is sitting right there?
So as we wrap up this deep dive today, what's the core takeaway here?
I think it comes back to what we said earlier, realistic expectations.
Knowing the odds.
Yeah, Osman is telling us if you're betting your life on a practice, you better know what the payout actually is.
If you want peace, stress relief, extreme physical health, and a real connection to the divine.
Do yoga.
But if you want to fly or walk through walls or shoot fireballs, you're in the wrong place.
And you are likely going to waste decades of your life waiting for a train that simply isn't coming.
It's a sobering message, but it's deeply empowering.
It clears the path.
It removes the distraction of the impossible so you can actually focus on the possible.
If you want to dive deeper into his world, definitely check out his website. It's yogawellness786.com.
All his contact info and service details are there.
And again, search for The Blind Muslim Yogi on YouTube.
Also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to follow his channel there if you use those platforms.
His breathwork videos alone are worth looking up.
Absolutely. I want to leave you with a final thought today, a bit of a provocation to take with you.
Let's hear it.
We have spent the last hour talking about a man who cannot see the physical world with his eyes.
Yet he seems to see the reality of this ancient practice clearer than people with perfect vision.
Exactly. Osman has developed the vision to see right through the magical illusions to find the scientific core.
So here is the question for you listening. What illusions are you holding on to?
That's the real question.
What are the magic tricks you're waiting for in your own life?
In your career, Your relationships, your health.
What fantasies are preventing you from doing the actual unglamorous work that gets real results?
Are you sitting around waiting to levitate? Or are you ready to get down and start doing the push-ups?
Think about it. That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Take care of yourselves.